Hello. Hey, hey, seeing some familiar faces from the other rooms and sessions. Hey, Raquel, Alethea, Bea, Keisha Gaye. Did I pronounce your name right?
Gay.
There you go. Sorry about that. Got Coach T.O., Michelle. Hey, everyone. Oh, I am excited. I am very excited. Yesterday, I did there was a panel on AI. We had 100 business owners for our local chamber of commerce, and so I'm fresh off of some good insights from yesterday as well. So cool. And I think V, are you our moderator before we get started? All righty. I guess we got no intro, so I guess I'll get it started. So, hey everyone, again, John Victoria. This session is going to be on the future of search.
I'm
In
sorry, before you start, I don't know if I heard it. Do you have access to record?
Oh, I don't think I do actually. Let me see.
It says recorded.
Is it
Was
recording?
it? I didn't hear it.
It's up at the top screen. It says recording.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Sorry. I wanted to make sure. I was like, wait. Okay.
I guess it's who is recording.
I think it's Cam's.
Yeah, I'm recording. Good
Okay,
luck.
cool.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone. So, going to kick it off. So, we're going to be talking about the future of search in 2026. This is a presentation I've done, I think, 3 times so far. Last time I did this was for Verizon Small Business for about 150 business owners. And really, we're talking about what is the future with AI and search and SEO, an industry I've been in for the past 10 years. But before we get in, I do want to get to know everyone. I know we've done some of the breakout sessions, but if you could put in the chat, would love to know more about your business, if you have a website, and also if you have any goals specifically for this workshop. And so just drop that in the chat and I will read off some just to get to know everyone.
John, I'm actually updating my main website, so I'll put in my podcast site link instead.
Sure. Perfect.
Okay.
Yep, just pop that in the chat. Okay, we have non-toxic skincare, myemollient.com. Amazing. All right. Anyone else? Nathan, in between endeavors, looking to learn for the day. Amazing. Dr. Oliver Reed, I am a solution consulting firm.com. Got Anthony, DWD helps purpose-driven veterans and brand new entrepreneurs build a real brand and income stream. Raquel, a voice amplifier, multimedia creator. Love the songs as well that we've listened to. Bea, mortgage loan officer. V does funnel design. Anthony, creating a new website, no website for now. Coach T.O., lightbulblessons.com. And Michael is looking to learn more. Awesome. So cool. So we have about 30 minutes today, but over the next 25 minutes, what I'll say is that we are going to focus on 3 things. Number 1 is what is AI actually doing today for search in a way that's data backed and not hype. There's a lot of things I've seen on LinkedIn and Facebook by a lot of the internet gurus on the things that are happening. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case looking at the data. Second, we're going to go over some core SEO and GEO strategies that are driving actual results, tying to revenue in 2026. And number 3, we're going to do a step-by-step process to identify the keywords that will drive sales in your business. But yeah, with that, as I mentioned earlier, I just got off a panel. This was on the age of AI. And one of the questions that I had asked the audience leading into the presentation was, first, how many people have used ChatGPT, Perplexity, or a Claude in the past week or so? And I had people raise their hands, and I'd say about 80 to 90% of the room actually raised their hand. And then my second question was, how many of you have actually made money with AI? And of the people that had raised their hand, there was maybe 15 to 20% of people that kept their hands raised. And so for this presentation, I really want to focus on how can you actually make money with AI. I use, ChatGPT as well on a day-to-day basis for planning out my schedule and, solving different problems. But how can this be a tangible difference maker in your business? And so in case you don't know me, I don't think I know many folks on the call. So if in case you're wondering who I am, my name is John Victoria. I grew up in a Navy family. I actually had followed in the footsteps of my dad. I went to the Naval Academy, was a naval boxer. But I think as I was going through that process, there was a point in my life when I realized that that wasn't going to be the path for me. And I actually made a big switch at the dismay of many of the close people in my life to pursue something else. And that was my current business, working in search and digital marketing. And I actually had registered my website back in 2016, which is when I'd started. So we're celebrating our 10 years this year. And when I got started, I did not have a business background. My mom, she was a medical technologist. My dad, he was a Navy guy. They're both immigrants from the Philippines. And so did not really have much of a business background. And so figuring out a lot of business was really the school of hard knocks. I did some masterminds, but a lot of it was going out to the chambers of commerce. I went to the WeWorks, I hosted sessions. And the day I landed my first client was a meetup. It was a Valentine's Day special, like how to make Google love your website. And so this was one of my first presentations where I'd actually brought on one of my first clients, a moving company. And so from there, everything began to snowball. Lots of cool things over the years. I've written #1 new release in online advertising, news, been on different platforms. Got to meet my role model, John Maxwell, which I'm sure many of you know or have been in some of his programs. 40 under 40 different podcasts. And basically over the years, I've just been focused on helping business owners to bring in more money and basically build the business of their dreams. So it's mainly through search and marketing. And so startups, small businesses, Fortune 500s. I've spoken on some pretty cool stages. The folks at iHeartMedia invited me to interview, Verizon, all this stuff. But really the main reason why we're here is, I want to help you to do a lot of what the businesses that we've worked with to accomplish that in your business and in your life. And so the main vehicle that we use to help the businesses that we work with has been what's called search engine optimization. And basically all that is, it's how do you influence a platform like Google to make your stuff show up? And so, let's say you were a dentist in Washington, D.C. You type that into Google. If you could be one of the top businesses here in the Google Maps section or Google Organic, I have a tool here that tells me there are 590 people that are searching for this topic every single month. And if you were a dentist, it could be pediatric, you could be, doing implants, you could be doing cosmetic related things. Like this could be very meaningful for the business. And so what we're talking about is how can you rank on Google? But what we've also found is the things that you do ranking on Google, there is overlap between also ranking on a Gemini, a Perplexity, or a ChatGPT. And if you can do that for the right types of keywords, the ones that will lead people to buy, then that is going to allow you to amplify your impact and work with the customers or the clients that you would want to. And so, lots of folks, worked with some small businesses and what they've done. Jeff, they went from 62K to 127K per month in 6 months. Chris went from 39 to 114K. Pete went from 5.9 to 9 million. Again, these are small businesses in the 1 to 10 million range. So, these are good impacts, but the same strategies do apply to the Fortune 500, just at a different scale. But the thing I also share is that there is a change. You probably noticed this on your Google search. Google AI overviews are beginning to pop up. And what this is, we started to notice this in early 2025. And what we've noticed is that over 5 or 6 months leading into into May of last year, there was nearly a doubling of that growth of AI overviews popping up. And moving into the latter end of 2025 and start of 2026, I see this for nearly almost every single search that's being done. And because of that, what's happening is the traffic that would normally go to people's websites for blogs that you would write about or podcasts that you do, that traffic is no longer actually making it to your web properties because the AI overviews are presenting the information before people can even get to your website. And so in our industry, it's called the great decoupling. Before, if impressions went up, your clicks would go up too. But nowadays, your impressions and your visibility in terms of people seeing your reference is going up, but the amount of clicks going to your website is not going up at the same rate. And so there's a gap that's being created because of the AI overviews. And then, ChatGPT, I know a lot of us use this. It's just, it's insane the amount of growth. Weekly users back in November 2023, when I first started using it, when it first came out, was at 100 million weekly active users. August 2025, we're at 700 million. And so it is like a rocket ship. And we are also seeing this on the back end of the analytics. It's just growing in terms of the clicks from these types of platforms. And so the question I get all the time, even Dr. B had mentioned to me on the call when we were leading up to the presentation, he asked me like, hey, is SEO still working the same? Is SEO dead? And the thing is that I've actually heard, that search and Google has been dead for basically every single year that I've been in business. Every single year, there's another SEO killer, something that's changing the game. But a lot of people are saying that now it's generative engine optimization, which is the key to success. So just to share with you some numbers, this is the stat counter, global stats. This is search engine market share worldwide. Google has maintained about a 90% reach in terms of search, leading. This is up to November of 2025. But I've seen so many doom and gloom articles about how Google's going away, but search engine market share has not changed that much. And also, if you take a look at Google versus ChatGPT, Google maintains a 99.59% market share, while ChatGPT is less than a 1%. And so I'm not saying that it's not important, but in terms of impact, I always tell people don't step over $1 to pick up a dime. So there's still, it's very clear where the attention is online. And to give you some more real numbers, this was a data set of 1,000 businesses. This was specifically in the home services space, so HVAC and plumbing businesses. And there was a breakdown of where are people actually getting their revenue from. And so, if it came from Google, if it came from Bing, if it came from Facebook, if it came from an AI platform, they tracked the source of the opportunity with the actual lead in the CRM and the money that came from that. And so if you take a look at the data, Google, talking Google ads, Google local service ads, Google organic, and Google business profile, we got 166 million, 124 million, 51 million, and 140 million. So I think this is over 300 million in revenue potential that came from Google versus this is the aggregate of all of the AI platforms. It's less than 2 million. And so the thing I'll share, and I share this with lots of business owners, is that, again, don't step over $1 to pick up a dime at this time. There is lots of opportunity, of course, with the AI platforms, but don't ignore the silverback gorilla in the room, which is still Google, and we have Bing and the other platforms as well. But I love this screenshot, and I think this came from November of 2025, and so fairly recent in terms of this data. It's basically over 1,000 businesses that this data was pulled from. And then of the 1,000 businesses, LLMs only generated one unique lead per business, and so again, not a lot of business has come from it. But even with that, I'll still share with you what we're seeing is working, ranking in AI overviews and SEO. This is not theory. This is not something that we figured out 3 years ago and have just sat on it. This is something that, we're working with we have our own test websites. We have 1,000 of them. We test different things like, adding content or changing URLs. And I'm sharing with you that data. And basically, you can't get this data anywhere else because this is literally from our own testing data. So in terms of what are the factors that are influencing platforms like Google or ChatGPT, I'm going to share with you the framework that I also shared with the folks at Verizon Small Business on the trifecta of what impacts small businesses for their SEO. And really it comes down to three things. And it could be a little bit technical, but really it's the 80-20. If you're going to focus on anything, if you want to rank in search, these are the three places to look. So number one, and I did see this in some of the other sessions, it's a focus on content. So having your podcasts, having your blogs, having your landing pages built out for your different services, that content is fairly essential when it comes to a platform like ChatGPT or Google, understanding what you're about. If Google does not understand what you're about, they cannot promote you to being number one for different terms. And so content as a pillar is fairly important. Number two, this is going to be the code. If you have a web developer in your life, this is the language of the machines. If you can speak to the machines in a way that they understand, they are going to like your stuff, value your stuff, and promote your stuff so that you can reach the people that you want for your business. And then number three, the third part of the trifecta is going to be backlinks. And basically a backlink, all it is, it's having another business or another website talk about you. And so if you've been featured, and I know a lot of people have been featured on different platforms, you might have been featured in the news or someone else's podcast or a guest post. Anytime that someone links to your website, a platform like Google or ChatGPT is going to see that, and they're going to promote your business to be higher in the search. And so if you can get these three pieces right, if you can produce lots of great content that's relevant for the right keywords, if you can get the code and your website understandable to the search engines the way that they get it, and then number three, if you can get other people to talk about you, this is the 80-20 when it comes to ranking on Google and ChatGPT. And so with that, that's the high level of SEO. So just some takeaways from the initial part of the presentation. Number one, again, don't step over $1 to pick up a dime. Google is still the silverback gorilla. Number two, there is overlap between doing things for SEO and ranking on AI platforms. And number three, what that is, it's going to be the trifecta for small businesses. And that's backlinks, that's content, and that's the code. And so I'm going to pause really briefly before we hop into the workshop. But if there's any initial questions before we get into this, this is going to be a quick and dirty 12-minute focus on getting your most important keywords to optimize for. But if anyone has any initial questions, I can rapid fire go through them, and then we can hop into the actual workshop content. Oh, okay. Let's do Michelle.
All right, you mentioned something, LL something. I don't remember what it was, but what does it mean, please?
Oh, yes. So LLM will be a large language model. And so that'll be something like ChatGPT, Perplexity, basically takes large amounts of text and then it'll create the answers for you. So ChatGPT, for example, is a LLM.
Okay, all right.
And then we got Lancelot. So might have accidentally raised his hand. So actually, let's go to Anthony.
I have a real, I guess, simple question. You probably are, I'm sure you already answered it, but can you make it more clear for brand new businesses and also entrepreneurs and like me starting my website from scratch? I just got rid of the old one altogether. So building it out, what is the easiest and I guess easiest way to get noticed on a brand new website and everything on Google or something?
Oh, Anthony, you must have read my mind. You teed me up. That's actually my next thing that I want to cover. So my answer, it's all going to start off of the keywords. So if you don't know the right words to use for your website, then, and I've actually seen this with a lot of people who built websites, they don't have a clear goal of what they want to rank for. And it's because they don't have that, they don't know what pages to build and what content to create. And if you don't know that, then there's no shot you're going to rank on Google or these other platforms. And so it all starts, it'll be identifying what are those keywords for you. And so because you teed me up, I think I'll start the workshop and then we will go into other questions right after. So yeah, we got 12 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to find your most profitable keywords. And these keywords, again, will be used to build your website, whether it's brand new, or this will be used to rework an existing website that you have. And so if you want, you can take a screenshot of this, but the basic flow of what we're going to do is we're going to do this in 3 steps. Number 1, and I tell this to people on our AI workshops is that don't outsource your thinking completely to AI. You have to first start by, pen and paper, fingers to a Word document, and just use your brain to figure things out first before you jump into using a platform. And so step number 1 is we're going to do a keyword brainstorm, and we're going to take 5 minutes. I have an iPad, and what you'll do is you'll brain dump all of your services, all of your products, the questions that your potential clients ask you on sales calls or even while working together. So you have a list of all the potential words that might be relevant for you to add to your website. And so that's step number 1. Step number 2, we're going to do quote unquote competitor research. I put in quotes competitor because I don't see anyone as a competitor. Like, we're all in our different journeys, and I don't think it's a great way to look at the world if you feel like you have a competitor. Like, we're all going for the win here. But in terms of competitor research, it's more looking at other people who are serving a similar audience and then visiting their websites to get ideas for what you can do for your keywords. And so we'll take 3 minutes for that. And then number 3, now that we've done the mental work of ideating, coming up with the keywords, we're now going to accelerate that. And I'm going to provide you a simple prompt that I designed to help build out your top keywords. And I'll even give that prompt for you in the chat so you can take it and run. And so those are the 3 steps that we're going to go over the next 12 minutes. And so step number 1, the keyword brainstorm. So there's 3 questions that I will want you to answer. And if you have a piece of paper, ideally you'll do it on your computer because it'll be easier to put it into the ChatGPT prompt. But open up a notepad and you're going to answer these 3 questions. Again, what services and products do you offer? If you have a location-based business, I think I saw someone doing mortgages. So if you, for example, if you're in the DC area like me, maybe you're only licensed in Virginia, for example. So maybe you list out all the different cities that you want to serve. It could be Alexandria, Fairfax, Arlington, if you're in Nova. And then again, number 3, what are some common questions your clients might ask you about your business? If it's about mortgages, okay, how long does it typically take to get pre-approved? Or, what are the documentations that I need? If I'm an entrepreneur and I don't show much net on my statement, like, will that impact my ability to get pre-qualified? So, just some common questions that people might ask. And for some examples, so if, as you're working on it right now, this is an HVAC company. So for them, they filled out AC repair, AC installation, furnace repair, specific cities that they served. We've got Alexandria, Arlington, and then common questions. I put that there. So with that, I'm going to close my mouth, and then I'm going to do a stopwatch, and we'll take a few minutes just to get that all written out. And if you do have questions on this step, I will answer it in the chat, or I'll answer it live. But just post in the chat, and then we will keep it moving.
It doesn't matter if you want to serve an area that is outside of where you live, right? Because I don't want to serve the area in which I live.
Mm-hmm.
So that's okay, right? To put something totally different. So I want to serve mostly people in the United States. I'm located in Jamaica. So like when Google asks me for information and I put in Jamaica, it's still not giving me the target market that I want.
Mm. Do you have a, I'm just curious, what is your domain extension? Is it a .com or is it,
Yes.
that's a .com, okay. Yeah, and for the purpose of the exercise, yeah, I would just list out specific cities in the US that you'd want
Okay.
to focus in on. So maybe
All
it's
right.
like
Beautiful.
LA
Thank
or
you.
yeah.
John,
Mm-hmm.
for the services and products, do we need to get specific about the types of digital products we have or the types of books we have or that specific or just general of the products and services or like specific on the type of
Mm.
like how deep do we need to get?
So let's see. So yeah, let's say if it was so something like book would be too general.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if someone was a fat loss coach, like you'd want to be like fat loss book. So
Okay,
something more specific. So like with
got you.
podcasts, it's speaking, it's too broad. It's a little more specific. Yeah.
Got you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I think we're coming up on the 5 minutes. Some of that time was when I was speaking, but if anyone has any other questions, let me know, and then we can move on to step 2. And then for our moderators, if you can give me a quick time check, I want to make sure I don't accidentally run over and only give 2 steps. All right, cool. All right, so we'll move on to step 2. So you've got your initial seed keywords. Again, services and products, specific cities and regions that you serve, and a really great point. It doesn't have to be where you currently live. It could be another region or part of the country or part of the world. And then, yeah, common questions. Another great way to pull this out is if you have an AI note taker and you record the calls that you have, like sales calls or your client calls, you could export that transcript, and then you can pull those questions out of those recordings. All right, so we've got 5 questions left, or 5 minutes left. So step 2, this is going to be competitor research. And so for competitor research, the way we're going to do this, it's going to be fairly simple. You'll take your most important keyword. So let's say I was the HVAC company. It's let's say AC repair in Alexandria, Virginia. And then you're going to put that into Google, and then you're going to visit one of the websites that is ranking on page 1 of Google. And then once you go to their website, you're just going to scan their blog, their header, and all the information there to give you additional keyword ideas. And so to give you an example, again, AC repair, Falls Church, I got Chandler's Plumbing. They're based in Falls Church. I Googled that. Second thing is, again, I'd go to their website. And what I would look at is I would look at what they have in their menu. What you see at the top, this is called the primary menu. So those are some keyword ideas. Maybe I have an electrical department, so I'll add that in. And then sometimes if you scroll over the items there, there'll be a secondary menu. And so you can look at that too to find out additional keywords. And then from there, now you have the additional things that you can add to your list. So plumbing services, heating, air conditioning, electrical. And then also, looking at the headers, plumbing and heating could be a keyword for you. And so that's step 2. Just use your keyword list and then build more keywords off of that. All right. And so we have 5 minutes left. So I'm going to just move on to the next step. And I think everyone will have the recording. But for step 3, once you have that initial seed list from looking at quote unquote competitors, as well as building out your list from ideating, what you're going to do is you're going to open up your favorite LLM. I'm going to give you the keyword research prompt, and then it's going to output a list of keywords that you can use for your business. And so this was a prompt that I designed. You are an SEO expert helping with keyword research. This is my business. You can provide your URL or your business name. Then you can provide the business description. And if you don't have a business description handy, what you can also do is just copy all of the content that is on your homepage and just paste that in. You can put your target locations, which we've talked about already. And then you paste your entire keyword list that you came up with earlier. And then the output of what we want from ChatGPT is a table that gives you the keyword, the type of keyword it is, like, is it transactional? Like, is someone ready to buy? Is it more informational? Like they're asking you a question. How likely is it that someone's going to buy based on that keyword? And then also what type of content will be on your website? Like, is it a service page dedicated to that service? Is it a blog? Is it a location page? And so this will then give you a map of how to build out a website from scratch, or how to add new pages to your website that is done in a way that'll actually generate revenue for the business. And so this right here is the research prompt. And so I'm going to put this in the chat so you all have that. And then I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like once you input it. And so I did this for the HVAC business that I gave earlier. And you can see here that these were the keywords that I came up with: HVAC repair, AC repair, emergency AC repair near me. It gave me some estimated search volume. But the thing that I would warn you about is that ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, they're really bad at figuring out the actual amount of searches being done for specific terms. And so you're going to want to use some other tools to help get you to a more accuracy. And I see 60 seconds left. And so the two tools that I would recommend, number one, it's Keywords Everywhere. This is a Chrome plugin that's basically nearly free. It's like $10 to do searches for like 3 months. And then Ahrefs, which is another great tool that I've been using for the past decade. And so, you plug in a keyword in search, it gives you the amount of searches, and it gives you a lot of ideas for actual terms that people are looking for. Ahrefs, it tells you all the keywords that your website is ranking for or your competitors, and it gives you all the volumes. And so this, again, it can give you actual data that you can use. And so these are the two tools I would use. Very short presentation. Usually I have a lot more time. I usually talk a lot slower. But, if you do want some more help, feel free to email me. We always just are happy to do complimentary video audits for people's sites and give recommendations on how they can rank higher. I'm going to do a 1-hour session. But yeah, that's my email there, john@pollyanna.net. And I'll see everyone in the main room. So